Melanie's Matters TV and radio. We highlight artists, business owners, and we talk about the matters of the community. William Pointer of Better Detroit and Baltimore Movements presents Connecting Resources to Help Our Youth. To find out more about the program, please visit betterdetroityouthmovement.org. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Melanie's Matters. I'm excited about today's show, but I'm excited about every show you guys. So, Mr. Pointer, he's going to tell us about his youth organization. Mr. Pointer, tell us a little bit about your organization.
Well, the name of the organization is the Better Detroit and Better Baltimore Youth Movements.
Okay.
And what we do is we empower youth within our communities so that they can actually live their potential.
Okay. So let's speak about empowering, because a lot of people use that term. So what does it mean for your organization?
For our organization, it means that individuals are able to go to college. We have a scholarship fair about that. Individuals can get jobs. Individuals know what resources are available in their communities. And individuals will have access to mentoring. So that if they say that I want to do, then we basically form a structure to help and support that.
That's important, because I think in our communities, that's what we don't have that missing. We don't have that piece, and it's missing. So if you have the resources, then like you said, we can do. So give us a little bit of history about your organization.
Well, it's 10 years old. We're just having the anniversary today.
Today, that's huge. That's huge.
And as far as where the evolution came, our organization basically started out of tragedy.
Okay.
One of the individuals in the community was shot and killed.
Wow.
And so they went to the shop where one of the founders are and said that we need to have some money for Rest in Peace t-shirts. And he's like, rest in peace? Rest in peace?
Right.
He said we should be living in peace instead of resting in peace.
Wow.
And so one of the first events was a Living in Peace art party where we were celebrating all of the ways that we celebrate life. There was a body painting of a globe that was on one of the pregnant participants of our organization. There was the art of music, the art of poetry, the art of dance, and just being able to be really, really expressive.
Okay.
And what we wanted to do was reach out to other resources to help with how do we build this community? How do we get the emphasis off of the negative and into the positive?
Wow, that's amazing. So out of tragedy came something that was successful.
The inspiration, absolutely.
Wow. So tell us a little bit about the youth that are in your program.
Well, a lot of the youth are from their parents saying, my son is or my daughter is, looking for getting to college or for just trying to understand like what things are out there. They need a job. They need to see what things are available in the community. And so through conversations, Jay, who's one of the founders, basically is incorporated or had individuals coming into the shop to specifically talk about what things are you dealing with and everything, and what can I do to find somebody that might be able to help you. For me, as a former educator, I had a lot of my students coming in. If I see that you're wearing the same clothes for month in, month out, here's an opportunity. And we might want to talk about some of those things a little bit aside from the things that you're typically just dealing with, typically on your own, as opposed to with another group.
Okay.
Other individuals have wanted to give back to the community, like retirees.
Okay.
And so when they came into the shop to get their haircut and everything, we're like, okay, you want to give back to the community, here's an opportunity. These are some of the people that we know. So we started working on networking for them.
Okay.
And we also have a program called MAPS. MAPS stands for Multiple Alternative Pathways to Success.
Okay.
And basically individuals will write down what my goals are or what my wants are. And then the next 30 days, we work on networking those individuals with resources.
Okay.
So if it's, let's say a volunteer, and they want to give back, here are some opportunities to give back.
Okay.
If it's a youth, and they're saying, this is what I'm looking for, I want an internship. Well, here are some individuals that might be mentors that might help you on that pathway. Now, what we don't do is we don't tell them, you have to do this. Because ultimately, these are all your choices.
Right.
And we're not going to do it for you. So we'll provide access and then check up on who's the individual that you were supposed to contact. Did you contact them? And if they were contacted, we communicate with them to find out what was the opportunity that they saw in that individual.
Okay.
So that's an opportunity for training afterwards.
Okay, so like a wraparound type of service.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. So please explain to us, because we hear the term resources a lot. We hear that a lot, especially with nonprofit organizations. So what are your resources? And I know it's a long list. You guys just don't know. It's a long list. But give us a little bit of what your resources are.
Well, okay. Let's say educational resources. There are tutors, there are teachers, there's administrators, there are a lot of different individuals that say, I want to give back.
Okay.
And within the structure of the school, there are certain parameters. And then there's certain parameters that we want to do outside of that.
Okay.
Such as an example, we have an individual that has stables, horseback.
Okay.
And they said that they want to do like therapy with the horses. And one of the benefits to having youth there is the youth can actually do the grooming, feeding, maintenance, etc. But in the same token, they learn more about the horse, riding, and being facilitated that way.
Right.
There are resources within the Justice Department, individuals that we're police officers. I've pulled these, juveniles aside, everything. What can we do? We're working within Detroit, the 36th District Court and the federal bench with Barbara McQuaid, U.S. Attorney Barbara McQuaid, and a couple of other individuals. Just see about, maybe the Explorers program would be good. How do we get individuals working positively within their community? What types of experiences can they have? What kinds of wonderful opportunities that they can have as far as mentoring and getting them to see the other side of law enforcement, the side that actually protects the community, the side that actually goes out and serves.
Right. Okay. Those are great resources, and you're coming from a different perspective. You're coming from the positive versus the negative, and I think a lot of our kids always see the negative. And you guys are definitely coming from a different angle, which is great. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a very quick break and we'll be right back. You're watching Melanie's Matters TV and radio show. A word from our sponsors, Kaj, bringing back black hair care products to the African American communities, located at 4326 York Road.
Well, hello. This is Jackie from Lawn Jack Exquisite Events and Costume Karaoke. Can I finish my sentence, please? Go ahead. We have some exciting things coming up. We do fundraisers. We do
weddings, bar mitzvahs,
proms. I think I'm going to let my partner talk because he's feeling rambunctious. So go ahead, Lonnie, take it away.
Yes, I'm Lonnie Jordan from Lawrence Jack Exquisite Events, coming to you from Page's Restaurant and Lounge. We are the best event planning company on this year's side of town. If you need a birthday, a wedding reception, I'm the best caterer in town. And this is the best wedding coordinator that we have here. Go ahead.
Yes. Now join us April 23rd. This wig will be part of the show. It is our videoke talent show event featuring the musical sounds of Sean, Montague, Ramon. I probably said that backwards, but it's probably the cocktails. But don't worry about that. Just join us April 23rd from 8 p.m. to midnight. It's going to be a show to remember. We're going to have live performances. We're having a cash prize. Visit us at www.lawnjackevents.com. You can reach us. I'm Miss Jackie.
I'm Lonnie.
443-939-8533.
443-388-4737.
And this is Mr. Lonnie Jordan, because I think he got a little excited and didn't give his name. But nonetheless, this is going to be a show to remember. You don't want to miss it. The show is going to be hosted by Phoenix Rising, she's a fantastic comedian. Lawn Jack is very active in the community. We do food drives for Pimlico Elementary, underwear drives. Please check us out on our website again, www.lawnjackevents.com. Hola.
Back to that event. Oh, I didn't get my comment. Running in the mouth.
Atypical Journey. 10 true stories. Women will relate and men will understand. Atypical Journey is now available on Amazon.com or Melanie'sWorks.com. We're back, ladies and gentlemen, and we are having a great conversation with Mr. William Pointer. So, Mr. Pointer, please tell us a little bit about the founders of the organization.
Well, the founders of the organization were Harlan J. Bivens, Ray Bivens, who used to be Ray Glover, and Reuben Gordon. And they're individuals that were growing up in the inner city, have had a lot of the experiences of I care about individuals and want to give back, and what can we do to help make that possible?
Okay, that's awesome. That is awesome, because from them being in the inner city, I'm pretty sure, and I hate to say this because it's a blanket statement, but they probably had some negative experiences. I'm pretty sure. So they took those negatives and turned it again to a positive.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Great, that is awesome.
Oftentimes what we see is if you concentrate and basically if you have two dogs and you feed one and you don't feed the other one, the one that gets fed is the one that grows. And that's the same way we're talking about positive and negatives.
Yes.
And so what we want to do is we want to feed the good dog.
Right. To get a positive outcome. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so tell us a little bit about the partnerships. We're still talking about Detroit, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about Baltimore in a few minutes, because I know most of you here in Baltimore, that's what you want to hear about. So please tell us about the partnerships in Detroit.
Well, we have about 300 different contacts as far as that goes. So I'll list some of the bigger ones.
Okay.
As far as politicians, I definitely will give a shout out to Congressman John Conyers and his office, and the political machine that Detroit has as far as getting individuals really incorporated as far as supporting their constituents. And how can they reach out and partner with. Another organization is AYE, which stands for the Association for Youth Empowerment. And they're an organization that in Detroit we have a defining line between the inner city and the suburbs. And that's called 8 Mile, which, there's a movie by the name of Suburb. But we have individuals from the suburbs that go into the city to basically bridge a lot of the gaps that we have culturally and otherwise. Another organization is DEON, which is the Detroit Interfaith Organizational Network. And basically it's interfaith, the three main religions, but also it incorporates other individuals that basically want to help out their communities and help out others that are around them and practice what they preach, so to speak. In addition to that, I mentioned the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District, Barbara McQuaid, and the Explorers program for them. Also, there's a network of educators that I've grown accustomed to. I have to give a shout out to TV33, specifically mixing it with Barry Ross, also Malik Shabazz, and we have other individuals and organizations that are basically like the new Marcus Garvey movement, or Black Panthers, or so it runs the whole gamut of individuals.
Wow.
And there are a lot of individuals that have been previously incarcerated due to either violence or drug use or whatever the circumstance. And they've seen a lot of the impact, the negative impact of what their actions were in the past.
Wow.
And so once released, many of those individuals have really made differences in the community by reaching back and telling individuals, that's not the right pathway, and these are some of the things that we can do because I've been there. I've served my sentence, and I see the difference.
Wow. So of course, all of those that were mentioned, and you have many, many more powerhouses, because it goes back to the old adage, it takes a village to raise a child. And so you have connected with a lot of people or a lot of organizations that can impact your organization.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And that's what it takes. That's what it takes. Okay, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
You're watching Melanie's Matters TV and radio show. A word from our sponsors.
Hi, my name is Tanya Lanier, owner and operator of Fresh Start, formerly known as Chelsea's. I've been in business for over 20 years. I do run 3 locations. The newest location is 137 Main Street. We do have a state-approved curriculum, which is Horton Mifflin. We focus on education and nutrition. We also focus on informing our parents of all upcoming new laws, because we are here not only to educate the children, educate our staff and our parents. We believe that all children can learn, and we do not believe that children cannot be taught the proper things that they need to take them through life. That's why we here at Fresh Start, formerly known as Chelsea's, we're here to give your child a fresh start.
To enroll your child into our learning center, call 443-522-2678. King Motors, ride with the King. Call 410-277-4545, or you can go visit them at 5905 Liberty Road, or you can visit www.king-motors.com. You had a long day at work. Now it's time to go home, chill out, and relax. But don't forget to grab your bottle of Spirits Amore, now available in 2 great tastes, Sensual Melon Breeze and Summer Skies, available at www.melaniesworks.com or call 443-790-6303.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We're having a great conversation with Mr. William Pointer. So now we're going to turn the corner a little bit and talk about Baltimore, because Mr. Pointer, you've been here how long?
About a year.
Okay, so he's been here about a year, so he's trying to implement some things that he did in Detroit here in Baltimore. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, one of the biggest things is just meeting people.
Okay.
Just being able to network and to see what things are available. And I see that Baltimore is doing a lot of very dynamic things and has a lot of very strong players. One of our partners is actually Dumore Baltimore.
Okay.
And Dumore actually reached out to us in Detroit, and we wanted to reciprocate, to come back and see what's happening in Baltimore that we can also do.
Okay. Okay.
And so that's with Kenneth Morrison and everything. But really what we want to do is not only have those partnerships, but also develop how are the results?
Okay.
Like what specific things are measurable that we have that we can actually say, you know, this is what we lay our claim to.
Okay.
And in there, that's a question that a lot of individuals have had and have voiced. You know, and one of the challenges that I've encountered is individuals saying, "Well, you're from Detroit. You're not from here. You know, you didn't grow up here. You just don't know."
understand.
Right.
Okay.
And so, you know, some of the things that we're working on are like, how do we effectuate that change positively within the community? And so we've reached out to, let's say, Reverend Henderson at the Oliver Community Center, Community Rec Center. We've reached out to my mentor here, who is Dr. Reverend Humphrey.
Okay.
And with reaching the Unreachable Ministries, and he's just been a tremendous asset for us. And he's really somebody that cares about the community and has reached out and almost like put a hedge around me to protect me in some cases. Because oftentimes when you say, you know, if I just said my name, whatever.
Okay. I got it.
But for him, what I receive is because he's accepted me, others accept me through him.
Wow.
And that I see as one of the ways that Baltimore works. You have to be trusted. And there has to be somebody here
That
that
can vouch for you.
sponsors. Right.
Yeah. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. So let's do a comparison. And I want to shy away from it, but I'm going to ask it. When you compare Baltimore to Detroit, what do you find? What are your findings?
Well, I find that they have a lot of the same issues in both cities.
Sure. I could believe that.
And in Baltimore, I see more resources.
Really?
But I see that people hold on to those resources.
Okay.
It's almost like having ingredients where I have butter, you have sugar, that person has flour or milk or whatever,
Right.
and we want to make a cake. And what ends up happening is, well, I gave you my butter last time, and you used it for whatever you used it for, and I'm upset, and so I don't want to contribute now to you having my butter. What am I getting? And you have to actually add it first. And so there's a going back and forth between individuals on there.
Okay.
In Detroit, I was there's a little joke about that same analogy, and they say, basically, you guys don't have anything, so you make mud pies. But because nobody had anything, they combined them together and everything, and celebrated that because they actually started coming together.
So you think for the resources here in Baltimore, ladies and gentlemen, please hear this. You organizations who have all these things that can be utilized, please try to put them together. You know, because we can't solve the issues. We're talking about crime, murder, drugs, and dropout rates. We cannot solve the issues unless we put our resources together.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we're working with is creating a drug-free coalition, specifically in the zip code of 21216.
And I think I'm going to be a part of that.
My mistake, 21217.
I'll be a part of that.
Cool. And what we're looking at is basically having 12 different sectors grouping together to talk about how do you eliminate, really eliminate some of the issues that are pervasive and continuing as far as drugs.
Yeah.
You know, how can we work on both the supply side and how can we work on the demand side to reduce or eradicate or eliminate some of those things because there's a spillover also. So another thing that Dr. Humphrey is working on is a compassionate response team, which is a community response to what incidents happen within that community. Because a lot of individuals are under a lot of stress within their community.
Yes.
And so what we see is the breaking point. But we don't see how to reduce that on a typical daily basis. Leo Burrows has the roots of scouting.
Okay.
And we reached out to him a little bit earlier to talk about, having the principles of scouting used within our communities, as far as first aid, as far as treating trauma, as far as treating, whatever the issue is. So we can actually reach out and give more individuals the resources, so it's not just tied to one person or anything too. Because the more people that know, like CPR as an example,
Yeah.
the better we are as a community.
Right. Now you spoke about the stressors that a lot of people go through. I think one of the biggest stressors is probably not having enough money, which can lead to other things, other things, drugs, breakdowns, and everything else. So how could you that would be a very valuable resource, how could you bring jobs into that particular community?
Well, I'm going to backtrack just a little bit, because individuals that don't have money, I don't know any drug dealers that supply their drugs for free on a continuous basis.
Sure.
So they're going to find access to these resources one way or another. What we're doing is we're trying to change what that dynamic looks like.
Okay.
So instead of it being somebody's going to break into your home and it's going to cost you a certain amount in your insurance and livelihood and comfort and stress and taking days off and all these other types of things, to use that a more proactive way.
Okay.
How can we get individuals how can we get that dynamic to change? I haven't figured it all out.
Okay. So you have a team here in Baltimore, is that correct?
There are a couple of individuals working with us. Yes.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about that team.
Well, that team is made up of, for the most part, clergy, some educators, and some youth that are basically working together to formulate how to effectuate that change again.
Okay. So I guess you would say that you need assistance with helping Baltimore to move forward.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is an opportunity for you to get involved. So, the issues that Baltimore face. You know that every day we can turn on the news and see that every day, all day long. So this is your opportunity to make change. I know a lot of you, including myself, has said, you know what, I'm sick of this. Every time I go somewhere, I feel like I gotta clutch my purse, tight. And I feel, all of these depressing things. But we have someone here, along with other, organizations that need us to help to make effective change. So we can do that. We can definitely do that. So what is your next step, William, with your organization? What is your next step? I'm putting it out there that we need help. So what is your next step? Where are we going from here?
Well, the next step that I see is for us to actually come together.
Okay.
Like I said, we're working on a drug-free coalition to have
Okay.
12 different sectors. Those sectors being things, individuals such as parents, youth, clergy, fraternal organizations, the business community, etc., coming together so we can actually have a dialogue about where do we need to go.
When is
what
it?
are some of the stressors?
Do we have a date for that?
I actually don't have a date for that.
Okay. So when we need a date.
And I will let you know.
Okay, so he's gonna let us know. We need a date so we can bring this together, because I feel hardened, when I talk about the youth, because I really feel like, man, this is a lost generation. It's a lost generation, and I hate to feel like that. I was a former teacher, and I'm telling you, I don't teach today because of what I saw in the classroom. It was very disheartening for me to see. And what I saw was that we have a group of individuals that are not connected to anything. But not just because they don't want to be connected, not because they don't want to care, but because they don't have the resources. They don't have the resources. And we don't know what's going on at home. We all these different dynamics that really make this individual kind of disconnect. And so whenever you get a date, I'm with you.
Thank you.
I'm definitely with you, and I know we're going to connect with other people that will definitely, be with you as well, because we got to make change, and it does start with these babies out here that are standing on the street corners, not going to school, and causing havoc in the community. So on that note, we're going to take a very quick break.
You're watching Melanie's Matters TV and radio show. A word from our sponsors. J&F Enterprises, bringing visions to reality, building the 21st century company. Visit jnfenterprises.com. Do you love music like Love Me Tender and Without Love? Great. Make sure you go to DonaldRobinsonMusic.net so you can hear all of Donald Robinson's songs. Business owners and artists, you can be in a reality TV show. Visit entrepreneursofbaltimorellc.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with Mr. William Horner. He has enlightened us. He has enlightened us about some of the resources that he had. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Some of the resources that we have here in Baltimore, and how we need to start putting everything in the pot so that we can solve some of these issues that we have in our communities. So he's going to talk to us a little bit about the pitfalls that he had when he got here to Baltimore. So tell all.
Well, a lot of individuals were very receptive to here's somebody that's on the outside, even though we don't know him, etc. Let's see what he offers. And basically when I got here, there was a couple of different community centers that said yes, and there was a elementary middle school, Mount Royal, that has a stellar reputation and everything, and Coach Rodell reached out and said, okay, you can do some volunteer work here, get to see some of the kids, as long as your background check is fine and all of your credentials are there. So I did work at Mount Royal Elementary Middle School on a volunteer basis. And what I found, because he let me go, and I was like, I'm a volunteer. And he said, basically, you're undependable and you're unreliable. And that really got to me. And so, I had to really make an evaluation assessment of what was said and what was my role in that. And I can't blame him. He said that I'm supposed to be there Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and I wasn't. And I can say that we had the snowstorms and everything, and it was my traveling and everything else. I can say all those things, but the fact of the matter is, I didn't honor my word. And I really took from there how serious he was and is about the welfare of the students. And I appreciate that from the standpoint of having a youth organization, having, being a leader, having the degrees and everything else. To see somebody that said, I'm going to make a stand and it does not matter what the excuses are, that won't be tolerated. And so I gained a lot of respect for him in that process. And have been working since then on how to deal with that situation, reaching out to other individuals so that they can actually have some of the, so that I'm not carrying all of the load myself.
Gotcha.
And so we've been reaching out to other individuals. I've also been working on how to identify what my schedule is and the constraints, so that I wasn't double booked and all these other types of things. Because I took it for granted because it was voluntary. That if something else comes up, I can take care of those things. And that wasn't feasible.
Right. Lesson learned, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, lesson learned. So leave us with some thoughts, something that will make us want to connect with the organization, something that will just wow us over.
One of the things I've said is that anything that you want can be possible. And specifically, we looked at living your life in possibility where you don't have to worry about time, money, or having a lack of support. And I said, how do you do that? And I really had to look at, as an example, on Saturday, like let's say 4 to 5. Can I borrow you to help me with the organization? If you said yes, then I actually have 25 hours that day
Gotcha.
because we can actually use each other
Right.
to help build.
Right.
And that's the same mindset that we had after the Civil War. When we had Reconstruction, we actually banded together as individuals and organizations and communities.
Okay.
And so what ended up happening is we prospered when we were together.
Wow. Wow.
That's what I would like to leave you with.
Wow. And it makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense because we cannot do it alone. God knows we've tried, ladies and gentlemen, but we cannot fight these wars alone. We need to band together to make all of what needs to happen. So ladies and gentlemen, William, before we close out, please tell them how they can get in contact with you.
You can get in touch with me at 313-384-4119, or you can actually see our videos on YouTube with under the Better Detroit Youth Movement, because I don't have any of those under the Better Baltimore Youth Movement yet.
We're working on that.
And working on the website.
We're working on it, and we're working on the website. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help us to help the community. We need it. We definitely need it. So, until the next time, you guys take care, and I'll be
Thanks for
talking to you
watching
soon. Bye.
Melanie's Matters TV and radio show. Be sure to visit www.melaniesworks.com to learn how you can be on our shows. Thanks for watching.